Hello and welcome to Life in Focus with me, your host, Stephen Akinsanya. And today we're going to be looking at a very important topic, a topic that is often misunderstood. And I have to perhaps confess that myself, it can be included in the numbers of people who sometimes misunderstand what childhood trauma actually is. On this show, we will hope to ask some tough but necessary questions. What really causes trauma in young people, and how does it shape their daily lives at school, at home, and in relationships? And most importantly, how can we, as the parents, the teachers, the mentors, and community members, guide children beyond those painful experiences towards resilience, healing, and above all, hope? So in my show this week, I'm joined by Andrew Fuller, who's the director at Hood Lessons Limited. He brings an incredible insight and expertise to this conversation. A bit about Andrew's background. He's a highly skilled youth and behavior specialist who brings a wealth of experience in behavior management, trauma-enforced care, and mental health practice, with a deep understanding of the neuroscience and psychology of trauma and its far-reaching effects. Andrew is dedicated to helping individuals navigate the complex journey of healing. Andrew's primary focus lies in addressing the unique relationship or relational emotional needs of children and teenagers who've experienced trauma. And his goal is to empower these young individuals to build resilience, regain control over their lives, and forge positive relationships. And through his expertise, empathy, and dedication, he strives to create a brighter future for each individual that he works with. So it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Andrew Fuller to Life in Focus. Andrew, good evening. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good evening, Stephen. It is an absolute honor to be a guest on your show.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Look, Andrew, let's get into it. We've got a lot to get through. You know, I, at the top of the show, confessed that I'm amongst some of the group who, I'm of a certain age now, heading towards the 60 in a few years. But when we talk about childhood trauma, I think about my own childhood, and I was very blessed. And I look back and I can honestly say that I can't think of any significant childhood trauma that would have affected my progress growing up. But childhood trauma obviously existed even then. But a lot of my generation, when we hear of childhood trauma, we equate it to this thing called the woke society, soft people not being resilient. I want to understand, when we talk about childhood trauma, Andrew, what are we talking about in today's modern society?
We're talking about young people, children, who are reacting to scenarios they don't even know has an impact on them. So I don't know how to manage this. I don't know the this. So the this is the trauma. When it happens, it's in the brain, but you may not even be able to remember the actual date or time or scenario. So you're 5 years old, 6 years old, you're laughing with your friends, you're at school, you're at college, you're secondary, primary. Something's happened. And the sad thing is, it's like a time bomb. Childhood trauma is like a child having a time bomb. They progress in life, everything's okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, but trigger, big feelings, then action. So once a child gets triggered, they may do something, and now they get excluded, or now they get put in prison, or they turn to violence. But what we missed out was the middle section. So you have, they were triggered, we just jumped to their action, and then we focus there, we demonize, we penalize, we ostracize. But the middle is feelings and emotions. So young people, feelings and emotions is not on life's curriculum. It's as simple as that. School, primary, secondary, college, uni. You don't talk about feelings and emotions. So trauma, basic definition, but I believe super elite definition, trauma is not what happens to you, it's what happens in you. So scary event, crisis, calamity, turmoil, storm, bad event happens. That happens. So that's narrative. The narrative is not the trauma. So straight away, Stephen, we can tick that box off. Trauma is zero to do with narrative or scenario or incident. That's just the incident. We experience the incident. Second base is I now feel on the inside, but we do not address feelings on the inside. We don't ask why the behavior. We focus on what the behavior. So something happens in my life, it goes unaddressed. Hence why we have what we have.
Right.
Hence why we're here today, literally.
Right. All right. So let me just try and unpack what you said. If we take a young child, because my next question was going to be, you know, what are some of the most common causes of trauma in a young person? So if you take a young
question,
let's have an example of a young child. In your experience, what are some of the causes, traumatic events that can occur in a young person's life? And then we can then go on to see how that manifests.
So you have abuse, all kinds of abuse, emotional neglect, physical neglect. That's actually top 1 or 2. When a family breaks, divorce, massive. Mom has a new partner. Child feels you don't like me, you don't know me, you no longer see me. That's massive. And these are the main ones we're seeing. Violence in the home. The area I live in. So my home is okay. Mom's okay, dad's okay. But my area, when I leave the door, when I leave the house, the things I'm seeing are like, whoa, I'm not used to that in the house. But when I go outside on the block, you got great parents, but they're living on the block. They're living in some areas that are in survival mode. There are some areas that are living in survival mode. If your child lives in those areas, they will have to adapt to the normality of that area. These are the things that we're seeing. But the main thing I would say is attachment. Attachment, the lack of attachment in any scenario. So once there is no secure attachment for a child from 1 to 7, it sounds rough. You are cooked until you are not cooked. It's as simple as that. So for my life, I was cooked until I wasn't cooked. So my life was saved because I reversed the cooking. But once you don't have that attachment, you are going naturally. The brain is wired to constantly seek love and attachment. So children are not attention seeking, they are attachment seeking. These are the facts. There's no opinion around there. The evidence is there.
Wow.
To prove that.
So taking another example, when you talk about attachment, and I'm just using this as a loose example, a young boy, and a lot of the work I do is predominantly with young men, but this equally applies to girls too. Let's take a young child who perhaps has been let down by a parent, even if 2 parents are not together. But let's say a father says, I'm going to be there for you, I'm going to be in your life, and they constantly let that child down. What impact can that have in terms of a trauma and how a child takes that trauma on board until the time when they are uncooked, as you describe it? That's
right. So that sends them directly into suppress mode. So children 1 to 7 are living in express. So we are in express. Science lets us know I am born. Oxytocin is the neurochemical that solidifies and integrates me into my family. So the reason why oxytocin is excreted and it's deployed from the brain as a legion. Imagine this major release in the family home when there's a newborn. Love, affection, attention. Look at him, look at her. When that doesn't happen, the child has no room for expression. I can't express because I don't feel safe. I'm not integrated into this family home. So what happens? I go into suppression. So the child will suppress feelings, emotions. So what happens? You have dysregulated children. You have children who don't know how to express their feelings. Hence why I'm going to throw a chair. Think about that, Stephen. Why do I throw a chair in class? Couldn't I find a pencil or a rubber or a ruler? But the reason why I'm not going to opt for the pencil or the rubber or the ruler is because I am heightened. Like I am heightened. So I walk into class already and my cup is full already. My cup is not half, it's full. That's what that does. So that's the impact. The child is going to have dysregulation, no safety, no security. What happens then is I'm going to suppress my feelings. That wrecks the nervous system. You are now rewiring the nervous system into survival. So anything goes. I'll do anything. I'll say anything. What? I'm getting kicked out of school. Bro, I'm from hell. My home's hell. So my home is hell already. The roads, the gangs are bad. No, this is why I do the work I do, Stephen, because we don't even understand how to see this thing. Gangs are bad to us, Stephen, because we are uncooked. We ain't cooked no more. But when you are cooked, when your nervous system is in survival mode, a gang is not bad. That's food. That's good. That's good attention.
Wow.
It sounds rough, Stephen.
This is really, this is really important stuff here you're talking, Andrew, because, you know, for years we have struggled with how we're going to deal with so many issues with young people. But the question is that, do we really understand the true dynamic of what underpins this? And you're giving us the food here. So please carry on. So my perception of, you know, the gang, for a young person, that's bad. But in their mind, in their world, it's good.
That's right. Whether it's right or wrong. So once you're doing our line of work, you're not allowed. And I'm going to be. So Stephen, my gift to you is my honesty and my straightness.
Which is what
you are not allowed. You're not allowed to do my work and be emotional. You're not allowed. And I believe it's the same with your line of work, Stephen. You have to be level-minded. We have to understand the things that we frown against can still be wrong while we are seeing the child as a child. So knife crime it's diabolical. Stabbing, samurai, zombie, Rambo. I have nothing to do with those. I abhor those things, Stephen. But I see the child. What happens, Stephen, is this. You can't just understand this intellectually. We have to see this through the eyes of empathy. That is the only way people are going to understand what I'm saying. It's not just about saving the victim. It is also rescuing the villain. So that child who is carrying a knife, who is willing to say, if I see him, I'm going to stab him. We have to understand that the mind of that child. Hence why I said we have to focus on why the behavior as opposed to what the behavior.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just some deep stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the cynics may say, well, you know, when we talk about trauma, how is that any different from someone who's just having a bit of stress or ordinary everyday life adversity? What's the difference?
The difference is very simple. We look at anxiety, that affects the girls. Depression affects the boys. Statistically speaking, those are the numbers. The girls are bombarded with the feelings and the emotions of not being who they are. They don't believe it. Not beautiful. I'm not liked. He's against me. She's against me. But the boys, it's depression. And what they say, Stephen, is when you know it's a mental health crisis, and when you know it's not just you're just going through a little bit of stress, because stress is good. There's good stress. There's bad stress. It's when you look at the lifestyle and the routine and you can clearly see a shift in normality. When the child's routine has dramatically shifted, This is when you know there is a mental health crisis, not on the way, it is there. So we're talking about going to bed late, waking up late, hygiene. You're looking at behaviors, school behavior, attendance behavior. You're looking at the way they speak to parents. But one thing I'm going to shock you with, Stephen, is this. That's become normality now. Parents no longer know when their child has a crisis because most children are in a mental health crisis right now. Once you have a mobile phone, hear it from me, Stephen, you are now experienced mental health crisis.
Why,
That's a
why,
bold
why,
statement.
why do you say that? Why do you say that, Andrew?
So we grew up 70s, 60s, and before, but we go from ours 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s. We grew up outside. So experience solidified us. Experience falling over on the bike. I'm out late. Mum's not even home. I have to be playing out. I can't go home. I'm with my friends. I'm a bit scared, Stephen, but I'm with the mates. Outside, play. So Jaak Panksepp is one of the world's leading neurobiologists, and he coined the play theory, where he's looking at play as an actual solution to the youth crisis. The body as a child, the brain responds to play. Our personal, emotional, physical development is it's hinged on our play. We don't play no more, Stephen. The young people do not play. They are online. So the young people now are being groomed. They are being grown through information. We were grown based on experience. That's how the brain is supposed to develop. So you're looking at young people in this generation and even the generation before. Online is where we are. You have young girls. They think about this, Stephen, right? They are offline. Are they beautiful? Do they believe they're beautiful? The reason why they don't, Stephen, is because when they're online, they're looking at the beauty standards. So online has their standards. Like what I must look like, what I must wear. Look at my hair, look at my skin color. Think about that, Stephen. That means whatever online says, that's going to be where they go for the boys, same way. The Rolex, the clothes, the Balenciagas, the girls, the cars. You've got 15-year-olds who are longing not for personal development. They're looking at material things. So when they get love online, that is their online persona. That is their online character, their identity. They don't have identity offline, because offline makes you feel that I need to go back online to feel loved, to feel connected. So that's why I say if a young person has a mobile phone too soon, this is the prerequisite. Before I get a mobile phone or a cellular device or an iPad, a laptop, whatever it is, internet connection cannot be in my house with my child if she is not aware of who she is, why she is, confidence, resilience, good stress, bad stress, how to handle, culture, identity. If you're religious identity, personal identity. Then you go on to your 6 years old, 7 years old. You should be learning chores in the home, responsibility. Oh, it's Monday, Stephen. I got to do my room first. That was us. Oh, can Andrew play out? Talk to him. Nah, Billy, I got to do my room first. You see, Stephen? So we're growing. Then you get to 8, 9, 10. You give your child now, they're growing now after responsibility, you're giving them local freedom. So if this is before social media, the children are supposed to understand freedom. So send them to the cousin's house, uncle's house, mentor's house. You're teaching them confidence, but locally, because we're getting there. Then you get to 12, 13, you are now giving them responsibility where there is a reward. So if you do the car, if you clean the house, if you go and drop this over there, you get paid for that. You get a reward. You have more time. Then you give them the internet. And imagine this, Stephen. Now, when they approach the internet, they have pre-education before they go online. There is no strategy in place in London, in the UK right now that safeguards our young people from online. We are dealing with the aftermath. Now there's an online crisis. The Violence Reduction Unit is about to launch millions of pounds to youth work specifically for the online crisis. Hence why I'm saying that's a major part of the scenario. Online is the new, that's the new place to live. Nobody is living in real life no more, Stephen. The young people especially. I work with these young people, all of the gangs, the beef, the WhatsApp beefs, the Snapchat beefs, the gang drill videos. Think about that, Stephen. I do a video. Where is it gone? Online. Who sees it? The whole world. So I got to get revenge. Me not get revenge, and the video's gone viral. So where do I do my answer? Where do I post my answer? Online. If I'm in a mental health crisis, where do I go? Online. I am literally having a crisis. I get my phone and I go live. I'm speaking to strangers, Stephen, about what I'm going through in person. That's why I said online is it's a beast that I believe cannot be controlled. It can't be. You can never be able to control online.
Wow, this is, look, Andrew. Everything that you said essentially tells me that. Well, you said it can't be controlled, but when you hark back to when you were growing up, when I was growing up, you're absolutely right. We played. We could spend our summer holidays, for example, from 8 o'clock in the morning, or as soon as we were up and our chores had been done, we were outside, and we were outside with our local friends in the local area, not straying too far, and we played until we had no more energy, until we crawled home.
That's right.
That's all gone.
That's right. That's all gone. It's not coming back generically. It can come back in spells, and I believe it can come back, Stephen, but it has to be a unified push. It can't just be 20% that believe this. It has to be a unified push. Has to be.
And you said something really powerful, that this internet, this online, it cannot be controlled. Have we unleashed a beast that, look, when we talk about the UK, we can also talk globally, because this is affecting young people across the globe.
That's right.
And my worry is, with the advent of AI, and AI doing a lot of the jobs that you and I, grew up being able to look to do, we are in a real crisis with a lot of our young people who are already traumatized and having these current traumas, and the prognosis for the future is worrying. If this beast is not being able to put back in the tin, as it were.
Yeah, there's hope, Stephen, and this is why
I need to have hope. I need to have
there is hope. There is hope, and the hope is work, but I'm going to break it down very simply. Rupture and repair. Trauma could never break us. It's not broken us in generations past. There is not worse trauma now. Trauma doesn't work like that. Intergenerational trauma lets us know, even if my mom and dad gave me the best in life, epigenetics lets me know my DNA is I'm not going to use these bad words like infested or contaminated, but for a better word, my DNA carries life. My DNA carries feelings. It carries propensity and inclination. I'm inclined to do what I do. That's the actual way family was supposed to be, Stephen. When a family, mom and dad, have a daughter or a son, you have to seal them into who you are before they're even born. So what are you like, mom? Dad, what are you like? If you don't transform, you will transfer. Transference is a neurological word. So the system of transference goes back to the brain. I have a child, I transfer to my child. That's it. Then they start growing based on environment. Remember, Stephen? No attachment, no attention, no love. I go in survival mode. That's downstairs brain. Downstairs brain, the limbic system. You're looking at the nervous system being warped, being in survival. You're afraid. You're not able to share emotions. You just, remember, suppression. You didn't express. Now you're suppressing your feelings. Then I go into the big bad world, Stephen. In our day, we're outside, but they are online. So when they go online as their release, it's game over. Because what are they doing online? So the brain, when you look at dopamine, the online addictive mentality starts like this. I'm in pain. I want to have a relief. I go online. I love the feeling when I'm online. Game over. So now when I come offline, life is never changed. My mum is still shouting, Stephen. Dad is still not visiting me. My friend, I still live in the hood. My friends are still, don't worry, I'll live online. Hence why if you ask any young person that you work with, Stephen, under the age of 16, ask them what time they go to bed. I ask as a baseline assessment, I ask every child what time they go to bed. I kid you not, Stephen, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. That's it. Yeah. That's a fact as well. If you ask any child, and that's because they're online, they are literally addicted. These companies are buffins. They are experts in how to get your child addicted to a device and the apps on this device. So once they get that child on the device, they can sell. You know how it goes, Stephen. These companies have to be online because that's where the consumer is. And it's very, very sad because they're now making everything accessible for younger people, knowing that the people who are online the most are young people. So young people are going to be directly affected. So when I said rupture and repair, Stephen, because there has to be hope, what that means is this. My life story was this. I did not see love growing up. Didn't see it, but I know it was there. But I only knew it was there when I was older. So I only understood the love was there, Stephen, when I was an adult. But I didn't need it then. I needed to see it when I was young. I needed to receive it from a child. I needed to know my mom and dad loved me from 3 years old, 5. I did not see it, Stephen. So I was in an area where I joined badness. I went to a gang. I was doing things in school, not because I was a bad guy. I was just looking for what I did not find at home. Watch this, Stephen. It wasn't the trauma that broke me. It was the lack of addressing the trauma. This is the hope. It doesn't matter. I have seen life change. If I told you their story, Stephen, it would blow your mind. Young boy I work with currently, he has changed his life around. At 13, he witnessed his mother take her life. His whole family abandoned him because they were going through the same trauma he was going through. They didn't want to abandon him, but they couldn't bear the burden of now taking care of a 13-year-old who's going through the same thing we're going through. He got put into care. He joined a gang, started offending, blade carrying, gang, all of this. His life has changed now, Stephen. And what we did, we faced the pain. We helped him to understand we are going nowhere, young man, until we can sit here, allow those feelings to flow through you. And I am here with you. I will help you piece the puzzle. You're crying in this room today. You're fighting. I will let you know why you're feeling like that, young man. I will let you know you're not a gangster. You're not a killer. You are just a young boy who is expressing himself in a nasty way. So what do? When those feelings flow through you, Stephen, and then what are those feelings? Name them. Why do you feel like that? Now he's talking, Stephen. This young man has never spoken about his pain his whole life. So he got to the big age of 16, 13 to 16. Not one day he was able to release, to express. That's 13, 14, 15, 16. He's holding his breath. So when he's doing all of these bad stuff, Stephen, no, he's not aware, because what trauma does, it sends you to survival mode. You're not allowed to reason in survival mode, Stephen. This is why you have a lot of young child criminals, sadly to say that, they would stab someone in the moment. They're not meant to care, Stephen. That's not what the streets are about. When I am in a knife fight, there is no... Didn't you think if I do this, it would end badly? No. Psychologically speaking, psychologically, the child goes into survival mode. If you do a research, survival mode goes like this. If there is 12 functions in your brain, in frontal cortex, that's the reasoning part of your brain, learning takes place here. When you are in survival mode downstairs, what survival mode says, Stephen, is we are going to shut down 10 functions. You only need 2. That's what survival mode is. So the function to ration, nope. Function to reason, nope. Right and wrong, nope. feelings. Consider your feelings. Nope. Consider your counterpart's feelings. Nope. What do you consider? Survive. So you're looking at me funny. Who you looking at? Where you from? What? Especially if they amp up too. So if they amp up too, it's going off. It's going off. It's going off. What I'm saying, Stephen, is this: that child is in survival mode. We need to implement preventative measures and interventions to get them from downstairs upstairs. So there is no crime change. There is no ex-gangsters, or there's not going to be no gang exit. First work, help child, help young person, help offender, realize issue, realize problem, face the pain, face the feelings. The aim is, Stephen, I've got to get them upstairs. Once they get upstairs, Stephen, right, they get back their emotions, they get back their feelings, they get back their rational brain. So things make sense now. And that's what I'm trying to say. You cannot, that's the repair. So the rupture takes place. The repair is crucial. Most gang interventions have nothing to do with repair. It's just about, and I'll have to say it, it's just about gang exit, got to get them out of the gangs. Have you took the knife out of their hand? I don't care about that, Stephen. The young men that I work with, they throw their knives away. That's a natural response to the work we're doing. Our focus isn't the knife, because it's nothing to do with the knives, you know? Yeah. Giving you a lot there, Stephen. So I want to see. Yeah.
What I'm getting is that it's a lot more complex than the sort of proposed simple solutions of, as you say, getting the knives out of hands of individuals, or more severe punishment. I mean, these are just elements of a problem, but the real work is a lot more complex, and that's potentially, I guess, why we haven't seen the kind of results in combating knife crime that we would like to see. Wow.
This is unpopular, Stephen, right? And I'm going to say on your show, I've never said this before. I can say that to you because it's in my notes. I've researched it and studied it, so it's not outlandish. Stephen, this didn't start overnight. If there are quick fixes, it's not going to work. So when you see numbers go down, you're like, wow, maybe. No, it's impossible. This sadly is going to be a slow burner. It's a fact. It's strategic, not operational. It's a fact. This has nothing to do with mentors or behavior programs or youth clubs. So when everyone's saying the youth clubs, exclusions, nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. We are still trying to pick apples from our apple tree, hoping it doesn't grow again, more apples. So my point is, Stephen, a lot of the interventions are apple picking. So we are now seeing the amount of apples in your basket does not mean impact. The impact only starts when we get a drill, go for the roots. If we are not going for the roots, we are just sweeping the rubble under the carpet. We are just painting over things. We are just putting on, when you get the plumber and they put on that, they don't fix it yet, but they put on that thing that makes it last for another week.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, Stephen, is I am willing to accept the fact serious youth violence is not going anywhere for now. It's not. But if we put the right work in place, it will change over time. Those are the facts. We have to see it like a business, like a system. You can't just do something in one school or in one government and it changes. This is vast. There are young children, Steve. Yeah.
No, look, Andrew, you and I are on the same page. I have been saying for well over 5 years that until there is a commitment, a proper commitment, to engage with those who understand what the problem is at the root, not on the branches, but at the root, and are prepared to roll their hands up. People like you, who the government at local and national level will invest in to do the work that many of us can't do, to reach the youngsters in many ways that none of us can reach them apart from people like you, we are in trouble.
That's it. Strategically, Stephen, very, very simply, I can give you a solution right now. And this is what breaks my heart. Solutions are there, and they're not hard. They're not hard. All CPDs, all teachers trainings, university level, college level. You want to be a teacher, you want to be a counselor, you want to be a therapist. If you want to work with young people in any capacity and you're in London, serious youth violence is at an all-time high. So there has to be a part of your curriculum to cover serious youth violence. So Stephen, think about how simple that is. If I'm going to be a primary school teacher and I'm going to uni and I'm coming out and I have not learned about serious youth violence, well, how does that make sense? So my thing is this, Stephen, if we are not even willing to educate the educators who are paying already for these courses, so that's for free, Stephen, that's not even a big thing. It's easy to get in someone in the university for all counselors, all therapists, all teachers, all principals, all senior leads, resident home managers, children home managers. We haven't even gone operational yet. We're just saying for all of those people who are in the field of children's services, the curriculum has to mirror the plight of the children you're going to be working with. Stephen, secondary school teachers learn about this in a CPD. Stephen, wow. Think about this. I deliver CPDs. When I deliver them, sorry to say this, for anyone's online, I don't take them seriously. Do you know why, Stephen? Because the institution don't take it seriously. So I come and deliver, but I give them the most generic breakdown. Do you know why I know this, Stephen? Because when I'm doing CPDs in schools, they're not listening, they're tired, they're busy, they're on their laptops, they're on their phones, because the whole concept of a CPD, sadly, in education is you are learning something of the magnitude of life and death. And you are putting it at the end of a school day to educate teachers about knife and gun crime and serious youth violence. So when we are willing to spend a whole day as schools, go for weekend retreats, go for weekend trainings, full training funded for all staff, now we can talk. And that's why I'm saying, Stephen, we are not ready. You said it. We need all hands on deck. We need to all show this is extremely serious. It is not a black problem or a white problem. I can, in another chat, Stephen, I'll break down how culturally the culture is leading this.
Oh, well, let's just have a look at this, because I've done previous shows about this culture.
That's
and
right.
We've identified that there is a culture which
does
not focus on color or postcode or in terms of London. It's nationwide. What is this culture? What is it?
Now watch this, Stephen. Back to the consumer. Remember, It's about money. Billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires. They have to sell products to consumers. Let's find a culture. Let's design brands, clothing lines, footwear, glasses, tracksuits, jeans. Let's design it for the culture. How can we make a quick buck? Let's get the culture leaders. Sadly, the rappers. Sadly, it's the gangsters. Let's just call it like it is. It's the gangsters. Their music talks about killing, but I'm going to get these guys, not all the time, I'm going to get the guys that look like that, dress like that. Do you know why, Stephen? Because the young people are following that. So JD Sports will have someone on their advertisement wearing a balaclava. Huh? They're allowed to do that? But think about this. When young people are dying, JD Sports hands are clean. They're in the clear. That's not their fault. It is. These big brands are normalizing the deadly things in our community. The things that are killing our community, these things are being pioneered, normalized, promoted, sold, glamorized. The culture, Stephen, it goes like this. Let's call it as it is. Black Caribbean culture. We came to this country. We We populated this country, small people, but our culture is powerful. The music culture started well. It got a bit dark, Stephen. It got dark. Language, lyrics, lifestyle, post-Cold Wars, poverty. So we are still the same Caribbean people, but our plight is different, and now our expression is different. So now we're going to rap. What are we rapping about, Stephen? Rapping about these things that are now normalized in the brain. So the culture of knife crime is deeper than stabbing. The culture is that young people do not even see knives as bad. Think about that, Stephen, right? The rap music desensitizes us. You have traumatized rappers. These rappers, I'll say it, they're traumatized. They've been in jail, they come out and they rap. These young people are listening to the storylines of traumatized men who are telling their story. Now it's normalized. So JD Sports gets their binoculars out and says, there's a group of people who are living in trauma. They're stabbing and killing. We can capitalize. End of story. That's it. So the festivals, the raves, the dances, like, you know, you got rappers who are living that lifestyle. These record labels, they know they're talking about stabbing and killing and this, but it's music. It's only music. It's only for the music. But it's not, Stephen, because the rappers are connected to people on the ground who are living that life in real life. So all of these rappers have their actual people living what they're rapping. And who is losing, Stephen? Our community. Our community. Sadly, it's not just the blacks anymore, or the Africans or the Caribbeans. It's everyone. Every race. So you've got your Cypriot young boy, your Spanish young boy, your Arabic young boy, you got your Afghan young boy. Because of the culture, they are now driven by that culture. They're driven by that culture. It's been normalized. And it's because they're in survival mode, they don't see the right from wrong. There's no moral compass. This culture has eliminated moral compass. What is right is wrong nowadays, and what is wrong is right. That's it. Literally.
Wow, Andrew, you paint a very realistic picture, and I thank you for your honesty, because many people, I mean, most of my guests who come on this platform speak honestly and from the heart. It's no political, they just tell it like it is. And you're another guest who's done just that. But you know, when we talk about trauma and how it's manifesting itself in young people, and combined with being online, I want to believe that there is hope, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because if I don't do that, then I find myself in a very, very scary place for the next generation. So I want to ask you a series of questions really about this in terms of schools and communities. How do they create safe spaces that reduce the impact of trauma? Because I'm thinking about the year 5s and the year 6s, because if we don't start as early as that, I think we've got a huge problem.
That's it. 100%. So straight away, parents, schools, we'll do with primary schools. That's currently, I've got a contract working in a primary school in South London. We have realized I can't do it on my own. I have great sessions. The young people love it. Children are going back to the homes. The children are going back to maths class where Mr. Brown, maths teacher, doesn't understand. He's not informed of their plight. So straight away there, Stephen, solution comes again. Back to strategy. There has to be a strategy in place for staff working with primary school children. The curriculum has to change. This is not an option. Maths, English, science is not going to do it. Not in this generation. It's not going to do it. And if it is going to do it, it has to do it in context. Think about this, right? If I just said, Stephen, that maths and English and science is only retained in the frontal lobe, that's upstairs brain. But trauma brings you downstairs. So that means schools have to be trauma informed. All schools have to be informed. Cultural context. They have to know the cultural context of these young people. Then we have to provide services for these families. That doesn't look like weeks and months and years of fancy programs. We are talking about in that community, Stephen, local authorities have to get behind youth organizations, parent, classes, parent organizations, funding these organizations, signposting. So this is a primary school. You have the young people who are struggling. There's family concerns. Direct those families, refer them on to a family service, family practitioners who can help them where they are. There has to be help for the parents because the children are mirroring what they see at home. I go nowhere else, Stephen. In everything I do have a step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 9, 10 process. But I don't discuss those yet because there's no point discussing step 5, Stephen, if we haven't even implemented the basics. Education, Stephen. Parents need educating. Staff need educating. Transport for London need educating. Local businesses need educating. There has to be a media blast. And what that means is there has to be we're talking about TV, advertisement. We're talking about radio. We're talking about whatever advertisement we are thinking of. We have to scream aloud, this is a national crisis. So let's educate ourselves first before we go anywhere, Steve, because that's where we galvanize the numbers. That's where we galvanize the interest. Now everyone's going to be like, I didn't see it like that. I didn't know knife crime was like that. I didn't know it impacted the Air Force. I didn't know. I thought it was just the gangsters and the gangs. No, I didn't know it was culturally. I didn't know that. So now we're educating, Stephen. Once we get that under wraps, now we change policy. We can inform policy. Right. Stephen, with policy alone, Stephen, this blows my. With change of policy alone, we're halfway there.
Well, you've got my next
halfway
question.
There. Yes.
You know, my next question was going to be, what policies or societal changes will make the biggest difference for traumatized youth?
Prime example, where are young people most of the day, Stephen? You know this more than me. Young people are at school. So we have to start there. We start with the policies where the young people are more affected. So what policies affect the young people more right now? School policies. So we start there. And that is where the big thing is right now between me and you, Stephen. The educational system right now, I am not against the system because we are always looking for change. But I am against where it is going. So we're looking at school exclusions. We're looking at to prison pipelines. That is a fact.
Yeah, that was my last.
That's a fact. That's not an opinion. Once they go to the PRU, you're cooked. Forget it, you're cooked. If I don't pull up to your PRU, Stephen, right, I can say this humbly but boldly, you're cooked. I get these young people that are not leaving the gang. I get those young people, but Stephen, we are working operationally. It's too much operations where we're going to get this young man. Oh, he's amazing. You know, violence reduction unit. Let's invest in that company. Can't work like that. Nope. Can't work like that. It's the community. We need to put in strategies where the community can wake up and realize this problem is on our doorstep. We can all do something to help. We're talking so deep about shopkeepers, even shopkeepers, Stephen. Each shop on the high road. I'm even going that far. There has to be a strategy in place where we can inform the community on the plight that they currently live in. Do you know how much murders, Stephen, have taken place in someone's business? These corner shops, these off licenses, they are having gang fights in these off licenses.
Well, and even the chicken shops. I did a murder.
Thank you. There you go.
A number of years ago, a young man was murdered inside a chicken shop in South London.
That's right. So what happens, Stephen, is this. This is by law, I believe. By law. Community days, by law. It's a fact. Wow. That is actually, imagine that, Stephen. You are now held accountable as a community, as a local authority. How much community days have you had? What is your community engagement saying? Do you have a number? Where's the data on the young people in YJS? Do you have the background story of their family trauma or, you know, I mean this, Stephen, community days. We have to think more strategically as opposed to operationally. These are the things that by and by, as time goes on, these are the consistent things that are embedded in our community. There is nothing in the community right now that we can look at and say to the neighbors around, you're struggling. Do you know where to go? So remember, Stephen, I'm not saying that the services are not there. That's the problem. The services are there. But there is a lower basement where the community is. They don't know where that parents program is, Stephen. They don't know that the school is offering a coffee morning. They don't know that there is a gang exit program down Leonard's Way. How do you get that engagement? You have to be on the ground. Back to the old school, knocking on doors. You got to invite them out, let them know. Free food, suit bank, free school uniform. The community is not there no more. Steve.
Well, that I was going to ask you. All that you've said is very laudable, but there is the reality, and I'm asking the question: is the reality that what we used to call community when I was growing up, it's not there anymore?
It's not. It's not. But we found out, why is it not there no more, Stephen?
Well, why is it not there anymore?
There you go. So I just look back in my time. Violence was still in my time, Stephen. Majorly. It was gun violence in my day, but the community was still there. The families knew each other. Stephen, no one is outside. Parents in this generation, the parents, rightfully so. Think about it, Stephen. They are petrified. No one is sending their children out. No one is saying hey and hi no more. You could be a. So we have to. And this is why I say, Stephen, the work I do, people are like, wow, do you really believe it can happen? I do, Stephen. It's the only way. We have to bring back community. How do you do that strategically? We have to have a community and bring that to the community. What that means, Stephen, is this. We galvanize amongst ourselves as professionals, as people who are strategic, people who see that there's a need, and we have to model what we want to see again. What that means, I'll give you a prime example, and I can put this out there, Stephen. I'm working on something. I started it 2 weeks ago called the Unity Tour. And the Unity Tour is similar to the DJ AG launch. How DJ AG is in all the communities. He's playing his music as a DJ, and it's bringing up the whole community, Stephen. And that's just one DJ who just said, I'm going to just go to the street, play my music. Stephen, hundreds of community people leave their houses to gather around his musical apparatus. What we're saying, Stephen, is the Unity Tour. We are going into every area, every what they call a problem area, and we are going to be doing it consistently. We are going to live stream it online. So now there's an online platform where there's positive messages going out. We get young rappers, young dancers, young musicians, contact the churches, contact the mosque, local services, local businesses. We're going to be in your area on this date. It's going to be it's going to be a blast. We're all going to be there promoting unity. Watch this now, Stephen. That's step number one. Step number two is now we've got attention of people. We're going viral online. People are viewing it. People are seeing it. People are sharing it. We're letting that message out. Unity, the community, unity. Now we're able to enter the rooms, Stephen, and the tables where we can discuss policy. We have to do these things. Imagine this, Stephen, right? No one isn't calling my phone. Well, not everybody. So to put me in the rooms to discuss the real things. Yeah. So what we are doing, we are going right to the community. We're going to get our data, get our evidence, show them, look, we're outside. We're putting on fathers groups. When I did my last community event in Brixton, there was over 1,000 people that turned up, Stephen. So that showed us the people are watching us online, but we have to be able to impact the policies and the decision makers to help them to put the money where we know change can take place. No child should be excluded if there is no plan in place for their return, but they are excluding children left, right, and center. They're on the streets. They're now in YJS. YJS is overrun. They can't manage these young people. The social workers can't manage these young people, Stephen, but we're just throwing these kids out, throwing them out. My thing is, Stephen, you can't blame the school if the teachers and the staff members they're not trained, that they're not equipped to manage the plight of London's youth. My thing, Stephen, is we have to slow down and not make it every minute. Let's go and save the world. Let's stop knife crime. But slow down. We got to get back on. We got to get back into that drawing room. Come together, devise sustainable plans that may take a year, that may take 3 years. Think about this, Stephen. You got gang exit 6 weeks. Local authorities funding gang interventions for 6-week programs.
Yeah.
Stephen, it's impossible. That doesn't make sense. That's nonsensical. You couldn't even change me in 6 weeks. And I'm regulated. You couldn't do that. So how are you going to do that for a young person to leave a gang? And this is my point, Stephen. We have done this all wrong. The whole gangs, knives, let's stop, bang the zombie knives. We're doing this work like this. Like, you know, in my opinion, we're panicking. You can't do this and panic. We have to be tactful. We have to slow down and take time. Sadly, Stephen, more lives are sadly gonna have to be lost in the process of change.
No,
it's sad, but that's the reality.
Yeah. Wow. Well, look, I mean, we've talked about trauma, the root causes, and the manifestation of that trauma. What does resilience look like in a child, and how do we nurture it? Because we need to create resilient young people, to give them that hope that we talked about at the top of the show, and a bright future.
Of course.
I mean, all of this is very depressing.
Yep. I would even go so far to say, Stephen, that the big hope is that the brain is wired to bounce back. That's a fact. So even if I don't even teach that child resilience, it's in them. My teaching of resilience is not a giving of information. It's helping the child recognize you are wired to never give up. Your brain is wired to be knocked down 9 times and get up on the 10th. That's what we actually do in our resilience program. It's not teaching them that you can do this. It's letting them know that despite the problem, despite the pain, despite the trauma, despite the exclusion, you are wired to bounce back. Sadly, social media neutralizes those powers within the child. Depression, anxiety, I'm down, I'm out. Mom's not there, dad's not there. It's a reality. I let my young people know I might not be able to change your home scenario, Stephen, but guess what? You can make it. You will make it. You just have to believe. That's why I say the 3 principles of self-identity. In order to know yourself, you have to love yourself. 2 in 1. Know yourself, love yourself so you can be yourself. Regardless of society, regardless of the problems, regardless of family turmoil. I teach young people, I work with them, Stephen. They've left the gangs. Their home is still in turmoil, Stephen. Their dads still don't visit them. Their moms still don't smile at them. But they're not in the gang no more, Stephen, because this is what we have to also let children know, society know. It's not always going to be sunny. Life is rough at times. We have to be able to get up and keep moving. That doesn't mean we don't validate the trauma, Stephen. That doesn't mean we don't validate the pain. We validate the pain. We appreciate the story and the plight. But if we stay there, we are doing them no good. We are literally doing them no good.
Oh, look, I told you the time would pass quickly, and it has done.
Yeah, it has.
Two further things I want to get from you, Andrew, and I definitely want to get you back for a part 2.
Definitely. Most definitely.
Andrew, first of all, I'm going to ask you this. What motivates you to keep going? Because I mean, I do what I do in the sphere that I'm in, and people ask me the same question. But look, you're really working at grassroots level, and with the passion that's so evident to me and the viewers. What motivates you to keep going?
My family, my daughter, and the rescuing story of me. Stephen, I was rescued. I was rescued out of the maze. So no one told me to do this. I realized this is my calling. Has to be. Wow. Because when I started working with young people, Stephen, it was 21 years ago I changed my life. 21 years ago, 16 years old, and I was seeing my friends killed. I got 2 brothers who have been stabbed. I've seen this my whole life. I strongly believe the way that I look at this is a little different. When I've applied my strategies in my work, seeing it work, Stephen, also keeps me in the game. Seeing it work,
yes,
reminds me that when we face the pain, Stephen, I promise you, man, my last one, Stephen, I was in a youth group today, 50 young boys in East London. I asked them a question. How do you feel when we speak about love and emotions? They all said cringe. They all said it's a bit, I don't want to talk about love. There's your answer, Stephen. Young boys love has never been on the menu, Stephen. I'm telling you, love is what will do it. I've seen it happen. When I give my young people love, they change. It's it.
wow.
I mean it, Stephen. They change.
Likewise, I
Literally.
hear you. Yeah,
They melt like ice. So
yeah.
what do? I put it in a strategy. That's all I do. Over 100 interventions, looking at neuroscience, neuroplasticity, psychology. So I know it's love, but I have to package it now, Stephen, day to day, so it makes sense to the funders, to the investors, to the education, you know. And that's what we do. But we will never stop, Stephen. Literally.
Wow. And look, if you could give one message of hope to a young person struggling with trauma, what would it be?
Know who you are. Find out who you are. You don't know who you are. So you're beating yourself up right now. You're knocking yourself down. Here is my hope. You don't know who you are yet. Find who you are. Find yourself. Find yourself. Know who you are. Love yourself so you can be who you are. Never give up. How you are feeling now is not who you are. Your past ain't who you are. Your trauma ain't who you are. It's your job to find who you are. Can't find it online. You can't find it on the TV or Snapchat or TikTok. You got to look inside of you. Love yourself, know yourself, be yourself.
Wow.
So I'll say, Stephen.
Wow. Andrew Fuller, where do I begin? Look, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And as I say, I definitely want to continue this conversation.
Most definitely.
But for now, I want to thank my guest, Andrew Fuller, for coming on the show and really speaking openly and honestly about a problem that we have in this nation with traumatized young people and what it's going to take to rectify that trauma. Andrew, thank you. So I just want to finish with these words. If there's one thing that I guess that we've learned today, it's that trauma doesn't have to define a child's story. With the right support, guidance, and safe, caring relationships, healing is not only possible, but it's powerful, and it can be achieved through the investment of time, energy, correct policy, community, societal change. The advent of the internet, social media, I think we've all underestimated it, particularly with the effect that it has on young people. And we are seeing the fallout. And as Andrew has very starkly reminded us, if we do not deal with this thing at the root source, we are just tinkering with the problem. Knife crime campaigns are great. All these initiatives with celebrities and people getting around the table, but the real work's going to take a lot more effort. It's going to take a lot more passion. It's going to take a lot more commitment, and it's going to take people to recognize that we need to love people, love youngsters, because as he has said just moments ago, so many of our young people don't know who they are. They don't love themselves, and therefore they cannot be themselves. And we are seeing a manifestation of it. We will definitely revisit this subject, but for now, I want to thank my guest, Andrew Fuller. I want to thank my viewers for watching. And until next time, let's keep building those bridges, breaking barriers, and creating a brighter future together for the young people who are our future. Life in Focus aims to educate, inform, and inspire. And so we shall continue to do that on this platform. We shall not shy away from the subjects, and we will have the bold and honest conversations until we are able to effect change where it is necessary to achieve the goal. But for now,
Amazing.
I want to thank you. Stephen Akinsanya is my name, barrister at 15 Newbridge Street Chambers. I'll see you next time. God bless. Thank you.
Amazing. Take care.